Hey guys, what's up? My name's the Breph and welcome to today's Pokemon Challenge video. Today, I'm asking the simple question, can you beat Pokemon Ruby with only a Zigzagoon? I'm really excited for this one. This is a challenge that I've wanted to try for a very long time now, way before I made the decision to start doing these videos, so I for one cannot wait. Alright, let's not waste too much more time, so here are the rules. Firstly, I'm only allowed to use a single Zigzagoon in battle. I choose those words carefully, but you'll see what I have planned in a bit, in case you can't guess already. Next, no items in battle, apart from held items, obviously. Lastly, I am allowing the use of TMs, and there won't be an added challenge with regard to TMs this time around, because I feel like we're going to need a few of them. Why? Because Zigzagoon's stats, well, they look like this. Yeah, terrible. A base total of 240, 30 in attack and special attack, and a measly 60 in speed. Oh, I can see this being a long one. The level up move pool isn't anything good either, but the TM pool is rather vast and covers quite a lot of type coverage. I'm going to make an active effort to try and avoid using Ice Beam, because I feel like that could make the game a lot easier, possibly even too easy. Only if I really can't get past a specific point will I consider Ice Beam as a last option, and yes, I'm foreseeing Drake and Steven as possibly unbeatable without it, but we'll cross those bridges when we come to them. For now, on to the game. We start out as always and pick the male character, giving ourselves the highly inventive name of Breph. We get home, set the clock and go to see our neighbour. From there everything proceeds as normal and we head up to see Professor Birch caught with his pants down around a little puppy who really doesn't seem to appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I've used the randomizer to replace Trico with Zigzagoon, so we do all of that stuff and then head back to the lab where the professor has cleaned himself up, and we nickname our Zigzagoon Klepto, because with the ability Pickup, the name is more than fitting. Trekking up to Route 103, we engage May for the first time, promptly seeing the fight done. Heading back to the lab once more, we receive the Pokédex while May hands us some devices to enslave a group of creatures. And that's exactly what we do. We head off and catch 5 more Zigzagoon. I've enabled full HM compatibility, so these will act as our HM slaves too. Pickup is a great and broken ability in Ruby, as at the end of each successful battle, we have a 10% chance, I believe, to randomly find an item, including nuggets, PP ups and rare candies. Finally, a challenge where grinding might actually be a minimum. Proceeding with the game, we strike up Petalburg, catch Wally a route and meet Team Magma for the first time in the woods. Shortly after then, we arrive in Rustborough and at level 16, we go into the gym. Taking on a few of the gym trainers, we realised that we're gonna struggle against Roxanne, even with the tail whip strategy. I defeat the last trainer with only 5 HP left, so I head off and grind. I decide to keep the rare candies for now, as I've only just begun and the grind isn't too bad at this point. I hit level 20 and try the gym. I've tried a few times, giving an Oranberry as a held item as well, so keeping this quick, I'm a mile off being ready. I use a couple of rare candies and grind the last few levels to level 25 and go again. In order to preserve HP on the nose pass, I use Sand Attack until our accuracy can't get any lower. That, coupled with spamming Tail Whip, we're finally in a position where we can headbutt our way through the Rock type gym. Given the fact that this gym is the only one where we're technically resisted, I feel good about the rest of this challenge. The next few tasks are simple. Run into a cave, smack a dog, save a bird, head into an old man's house and tell him to sail us down to a little island. When we land in Dewford, we head straight into the house next to the water and collect the Silk Scarf, an item that boosts normal type moves. The next thing for us to do is really to go and find Steven, but being the procrastinator that I am, we decide to wipe out Brawley first. This is technically the gym that we should be worried about, as in case you've been living under a rock for the last 15 years, and if so, spoilers, he uses fighting type Pokemon. We're a higher level than Brawley and outspeed him. Machop takes the first headbutt and flinches, leaving us free reign to headbutt him again and take him out. Makuhita comes out and takes a headbutt, flinches as well, and goes down the same way as Machop. What are the chances of that happening? Anyway, luck aside, and now is probably a good time for me to announce that I've turned on full TM-HM compatibility by mistake. Mainly as I'm an idiot who forgot you could just use full HM rather than both, but hey, I'm only going to use TMs that appear on the TM pool for Zigzagoon. As for the HM slaves, anything goes, and it will get a bit wacky flying on the back of a Zigzagoon. But with help from Flash, we meander through the cave to Stephen, deliver the letter, and head off in the direction of Slateport. There we find the aptly named Doc in the dockyard, head into the museum to find the captain and get confronted by two magma grunts. We do to them what my local fish and chip shop does to the sausages I buy, batter them, and encounter Maxie for the first time. He goes on about how his wife left him for a cruise ship captain and now he wants to remove the oceans or something like that, and then he walks off to do something or other. I guess you can tell how much attention I really pay to this part of the game. At level 30 we take on May on the route to Moorville. Her combustion is a little you-know-what to start with. We actually end up going down to it the first time around. Second time however, I equip the silk scarf and go again, overpowering her entire team. Once we arrive in Moorville, we hit up the bike shop and choose a bike. The acro bike to be precise, but feel free to ask in the comments about which one I chose. I hear the algorithm likes it when you do that. Once that's done, we go and say hello to Wally outside the gym. He's very happy to see us and challenges us to a battle. We embarrass his Rolt so badly that we'll actually never see it again and head in to take on Watson. We're level 36 and the first time goes swimmingly. We get a tail whip off against the Magnemite and it uses Thunder Wave. There we get paralysed and only manage to get off the single headbutt before going down. I try a few more times, but even when we do get to the Magneton, we still can't win. Luckily, Pickup have been doing some bits for us, so I equip the Silk Scarf, pop 4 rare candies and go again. This time we're stronger, faster, and our attacks are boosted, and the result is the same. We're still too fragile. I figured that grinding to level 45 would be overkill, so that's exactly what I do. Ish. Instead of grinding in the conventional way, I just pop an extra 5 rare candies. We get through this time, but only with 12 HP, and it turns out that when using a fragile little goose like Zigzagoon, even overkill is actually borderline. Next comes my absolutely favourite slog in the game, travelling up through Fiery Path and into Meteor Falls, only stopping on the way to collect the TM for Dig and teaching it to our little Klepto. Team Magma say something about going to the volcano, so we make our way there to find Maxie doing something he shouldn't be. We let Klepto give him an old-fashioned telling off and collect the meteorite to exchange it for the TM return back at Cosmo's house. From there we descend the mountain and take on Flannery. We're level 49 at this point and somewhat over-leveled, so it's mainly a clean sweep. The only thing to note about this fight is that Torkoal hit us with the Attract and we never once got hit by its effects. We make a beeline for Norman and go straight at him. Like father like son, we're both fond of the normal type. He does tease us by bringing out some high-powered ones while we're stuck using the pitifully weak yet over-leveled first stage evolution Zigzagoon. Nevertheless, Klepto does his usual and steals the win for us. Next on the agenda is actually a little side quest. See, the easiest way to get Thunderbolt is probably to buy it at the game corner, but I fancied doing something different. So I speak to Watson, head down into New Moorville, turn off the generator, and return to him. He gives us the TM for Thunderbolt, which we teach to Klepto and place a tail whip. Naturally, the next major point to note is the Weather Institute. To be honest, calling it a point to note is a lie. Nothing interesting ever happens. We wipe aside Team Magma without any sort of hassle. Leaving there, we bump into May, and she's absolutely ridiculous. Thunderbolt on Walmer, Surf on Combustion, Return on Shroomish, and we're heading off. Before we do anything else though, I'm gonna do something a little bit new. I stop off at the old lady in Fortree and give her the old right-right-left combo and pick up the TM for Hidden Power. I'm sure if you're watching this then you know what Hidden Power does, but for any of you that don't, Hidden Power is a move whose typing changes for each and every Pokemon that learns it. I believe it's based off of Pokemon's IVs, but I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyway, I decided to test it to see whether or not it could be useful. I'm really hoping for either Ice or Fighting type. In order to test it, really all you have to do is save your game, teach Hidden Power to a Pokemon, and go and fight Pokemon to whittle down your options. I start with a Linoone, hoping it's fighting. It isn't, because it's only regularly effective. Next I fight a Tentacle, and it's super effective. This means it's either Psychic, Ground, or Electric. I encounter a Wingull next, the perfect Pokemon. If it's super effective here, it's Electric. If it's regularly effective, it's Psychic. And if it doesn't affect, then it's Ground. I try, and it's regular, meaning it's Hidden Power Psychic. Damn, somewhat useless for us. I did realise after doing all of this that I really could have just gone and gotten the Devinscope first to fight a Kecleon. Kecleon has the ability Colour Change, which means it turns into the typing of the last move that hit it. And this would have revealed the typing of Hidden Power. But hey, I do like making life harder on myself, don't I? I reset because Psychic is pretty much useless to us. Go and collect the Devinscope and take on Winona. Given that we have Thunderbolt, this gym goes exceedingly well. From there we climb Mount Pyre, grab the Sea Incense and TM for Shadow Ball, before heading up to the summit and watching Maxie take his blue ball away. He tells us outright that he's going to Slateport, so we go off in pursuit. Upon arrival in the port town, we catch the end of Captain Stern's interview before discovering Maxie stealing the submarine and telling us outright yet again where he can be found. This time, the Lily Cove hideout. Wow, a thief telling someone where to find the stolen goods. That's a move that would make even Garrett proud. So we head over and navigate the warp tiles and find Admin Tabitha standing in front of the submarine spouting some sort of threat to pulverise us. When we're done returning the favour, we see the submarine leave the area. Personal experience tells us that we need to head off and challenge the Moss Deep Gym before we can do anything. In Ruby and Sapphire, the only two Pokemon these guys have are Lunatone and Solrock. We have Surf. An easy victory, right? Wrong. Even at level 61, remember that stupidly low number that Zigzagoon had in special attack? Well, yeah, turns out that 30 isn't very good, even when you're using a super effective move. So we leave, pop a few rare candies and come back at level 65. No sooner have we started, we're finished. We're still too weak. Crying inside at the prospect of having another grinding session, I go and consume all of the remaining rare candies to come back at level 73. This time, we get somewhere. It did take a good 40 attempts, but we've made some good progress. A couple of times we get Solrock to faint and Lunatone into red health, so I know this is possible. Eventually, we get this run. It's over pretty quickly, and surviving with red health is never nice, but we got the crit at the right time when we needed it, and finally we're moving on with the game. Down in the seafloor cavern, we find Groudon chilling in his lava bath before Maxie comes and tries to charge us for the privilege of looking at it, like he's running some form of zoo. Knob. But Klepto and I teach him a lesson, and unfortunately all the fighting frightens Groudon, who teleports to some other location. As it turns out, he decided to throw a temper tantrum from being woken up, and like a teenager, has receded back into a cave, leaving a horrific scene in its wake. Stephen flies in and tells us not to do something reckless, so, being reckless as we are, we head into Setopolis and traverse the Cave of Origin, where we find Groudon at the base. We defeat it because it wasn't shiny, and head off to the Setopolis gym, where we meet Wallace. Return and Thunderbolt are powerful enough at this level, powerful enough that we beat Wallace on the second time of asking. Level 75 against level 43. Oh man, I knew Zigzagoon was weak, but this Pokemon is just taking the piss. There's no way we're going to win this without being max level. But for now, we have Victory Road. And I've played these games so many times that I could probably do this area blindfolded. So after a very short while, we meet Wally at the exit, who challenges us to a battle. We defeat Wally for the final time with relative ease and make our way into the Elite Four. Initially, I decide to grind levels off the Elite Four like I did with Bellend in the last challenge, but shortly I realise I have a quicker option. I need to farm rare candies. We fly on the back of a Zigzagoon to Old Dale Town. The grass to the south there only have level 2 or 3 Pokemon and therefore are easy kills. Quick farming is key, and it really doesn't take much over an hour from here, and then I've found all the rare candies necessary to max my level out. Flying back to the Pokemon League, we deposit all of our grinding slaves in the PC, use stolen drugs to boost our little Klepto up to his peak, and head off into Sydney. We use Return and Thunderbolt to see off all of the challenge that he was supposed to pose. The real challenge now is Phoebe. She has 2 Dusclops with the ability Pressure, meaning each move consumes twice as much PP as normal. This would be annoying at the best of times, but second out is a Bennett, and this one loves to spam Spite. That's a move that cuts the PP of the last move that was used, and although it's an annoying battle, it's ultimately one that wasn't overly challenging. Through the door we get to take on Glacier. I was really looking forward to this because a lot of her Pokemon are part water type too, and I'm packing Thunderbolt for this exact scenario. Unfortunately, it becomes all too apparent early on that our special attack is way too weak to even be considered effective. Return with a Silk Scarf is way more powerful and ultimately sees us through the fight in easy enough fashion. Drake is up last, and yeah, it took a good number of attempts. By and large, all I needed to do was spam Return and hope for the best. It worked, because soon enough, we're ready to face the champion. Before we go in though, I do make a couple of potentially controversial decisions. Firstly, to replace Dig with Shadow Ball. A few of Steven's Pokemon know Earthquake, and I decide that the turn is wasted underground and it could be too risky. Shadow Ball also has the chance to reduce the opponent's special defense, so that could come in handy. Secondly, to act alongside that strategy, I equip the Sea Incense instead of Silk Scarf. This boosts the power of water type moves, only by a fraction, but I figured that Surf would be one of our best options against the champ, and with that said, I head on in. It took many attempts, but here's how it went. Skarmory goes down pretty easily, draining a full restore along the way. Armaldo gets paralysed and misses his turn. A single Surf is all I needed to take it out. I got a high damage roll, so it always helps. I'm actually fairly sure it was needed. I don't think it would have gone down without it. Claydol comes out next, and it uses Reflect rather than any sort of damaging move, allowing me to dispatch it with Surf. Aggron emerges and is sunk rather emphatically with Surf, leaving me with only Cradilly and Metagross left. Cradilly is an issue, as it pretty much resists everything I've got on offer. This was the challenge that I wanted to avoid using Ice Beam for. I decide my best bet is to go for Thunderbolt or Surf. I start with the electric type move, and bloody good thing I did, because Cradilly gets paralysed. Other than that, not much happens besides a full restore and some toing and throwing, and we surf it way out of existence. Metagross is the only Pokemon that stands between me and the sweet embrace of my bed, because I'm one of those idiots who does his playtime and recording at ridiculous hours of the day. Not quite as late as the Shinx video, but not far off. Checking the clock on my computer, I kick this final part off at 5:49 AM. I kick it off with a cheeky Thunderbolt. I strike it lucky and get the paralysis chance. Amazing! Metagross manages to hit a Meteor Mash, and watching that health bar drop had me clenched tighter than a nun's... actually, never mind that one. We survive with 22 HP. From there, we're so lucky. We managed to get Metagross down into low HP, with it falling victim to 3 paralysis turns in a row. Unfortunately, it's only into full restore range. At this point, I had accepted the fate that I thought was coming and prepared to go back to Moorville and buy Ice Beam. But I go for Thunderbolt again, and I only go and get the bloody paralysis again, don't I? There isn't a chance of this happening again, is there? Is there? I go for Thunderbolt again, and Metagross is hindered by paralysis. He's at half health, and I go for Shadow Ball. Paralysis again! I perk up greatly, because I'm within surfing range, and just like that, Klepto has stolen the win, and picked up a place in the Hall of Fame. Zigzagoon has overcome every single challenge put in front of it, and has conquered the Hoenn region. We head into the Hall of Fame with Steven, register our Zigzagoon, and just like that, the game is complete. At the start of this challenge, I asked a simple question. Can you beat Pokémon Ruby with only a Zigzagoon? The answer? Yes. It's very difficult without Ice Beam and required an almost perfect fight with Metagross, but it is doable. I would actually recommend playing these games with the Zigzagoon line as a casual way as well as a challenge, although for the fighting portion I'd say let Zigzagoon evolve. At the end of the day, the pickup ability is really fun to abuse. Anyway, for those of you that are still here, thank you so much for watching this video. At the time of recording these audio lines, I've literally just hit my first 100 subscribers. I want to thank all of you for helping me and supporting me through this, and I really hope you stick around for many more challenges in the future. I do have a little 100 subscriber video planned, and hopefully it will come out just before the next challenge. Speaking of which, join me next time where I'll be asking the question, can you beat Pokemon Gold with only an Apom? Like and subscribe for more challenges, comment down below any challenges you might like to see me take on in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.